LeBron was 25 when this happened, which is just old enough to think you know what you're doing. And all of those guys, this was their show, this was their coming out party. This was the beginning of he and his team branching out and handling much more of his affairs. LeBron did not really bring a lot of people with him, but where he brought them was into the offices that he now had access to. So now I've got to deal with Nike. Okay, well, one day I want Maverick to run some stuff for me. Maverick, you go work for Nike. Rich Paul eventually you go work a job at CAA and you learn how to be an agent, and then you'll eventually become an agent. So he placed these guys into positions to be empowered and to learn what they were doing rather than just being like, okay, cool, you're my manager now. This was the time for him to go ahead and decide that he was going to do this.
A free agency announcement show wasn't the idea of LeBron or his friends or anyone at ESPN. It was pitched by a guy named Drew from Columbus, Ohio, in Bill Simmons' mailbag column. Drew wrote, "What if LeBron announces he will pick his 2010-11 team live on ABC?" Simmons replied that LeBron should do it on pay-per-view and charge $44.99. 3 months later, during the 2010 All-Star Weekend in Dallas, Simmons urged ESPN executives to produce an announcement show called LeBron's Decision. That weekend, Simmons also pitched it to members of LeBron's team, including Maverick Carter and LeBron's agent, Leon Rose. LeBron's advisors were in favor of the idea, Simmons wrote in an email sent in May to ESPN executives. But the project went nowhere until early June in LA. During Game 2 of the NBA Finals, veteran broadcaster Jim Gray says he told Maverick Carter and Hollywood agent Ari Emanuel that LeBron should announce his decision live on network TV. Carter sold LeBron on the idea, and Emanuel pitched it to ESPN executive John Skipper.
I think it was a 3-hour pre-show and 2-hour post. Which I want to ask you
Only
about.
ESPN would do a 6-hour special.
Exactly.
Emanuel asked Skipper for the decision to air live on ABC.
We were spending a lot of time speculating about where LeBron went. I do remember the first decision I made was we wanted this on ESPN.
At first, Emanuel and Carter proposed buying 1 hour of primetime television. But then they asked ESPN to give them the network time for free. They said LeBron would donate the proceeds from sponsors. It was more than $2 million to the Boys and Girls Clubs of America.
I think I decided pretty quickly I was okay donating the hour. I thought this would get enough attention that it would be worthwhile for us to do. I didn't mind losing the ad time. Part of this would be a charitable contribution.
And from a business perspective, though, at ESPN, what was the rationale for donating that hour from a business standpoint?
Look, at the end of the day, the rationale was it's what we had to do to get the show. And I felt that getting the show, having LeBron announce on our air, the rating we would get, the attention we would get, would be good for our business.
Skipper assigned ESPN executive Keith Clinkscales to work with LeBron's camp on the Decision broadcast.
It was a unique confluence of situations. You had an awesome player having a chance to make a free agent decision in a new modern NBA era with increased amount of marketing and things like this. It's a lot of factors came together.
Sources told me that Leon Rose and advisor William Wesley, famously known as Worldwide Wes, had second thoughts and told LeBron's inner circle that doing the primetime announcement could backfire. But for Maverick Carter, the rewards outweighed the risks. The goals were to help LeBron blow up and, as the Akron team has always stressed, to control the narrative.
What LeBron and his team did really challenged the norms of control. And it also demonstrated the kind of power that an athlete at the right moment has.
NBA Commissioner David Stern believed ESPN was handing over far too much control. Stern was livid. He demanded that Skipper cancel the show.
Mr. Stern always considered it, Commissioner Stern always considered it instructive to give us his improvements for what we could do.
And one of those was you don't hand the keys necessarily to LeBron.
David didn't love the decision. On the other hand, He's smart enough to know that 10 million people tuning in for a player in his league announcing where they're going is a good thing.
Why didn't he love it, do you think?
I think probably because the player was in charge here.
Nothing like this had ever been done before. The cameras and satellite uplink at the Boys and Girls Club were run by ESPN, but LeBron and Maverick Carter, who had never produced a live TV show, would call the shots. Jim Gray was their choice as host. He didn't work for ESPN, and his sources told me nobody at ESPN wanted Gray to do it. Network executives wanted Bob Lee or Stuart Scott. But in the end, Gray, who declined to speak with me, would be host. And it was non-negotiable.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.